Okay.
So any moment now, it says we are live.
And
I
what I could do is try it over on my Mac if I need to see if I see
okay.
it.
Okay. I think we're set. We are live now. Hi everybody. After you don't want to know what we went through. We actually did this whole presentation, but apparently we weren't live. So okay, if you want to do a search, Kerry, and see if we are, if you see us on YouTube. And my apologies, everybody. Just give us a moment. We want to be sure that we're actually live. We went through a whole song and dance, folks, and nobody could watch us.
Let's see.
Now
Uh,
we're gonna have there's gonna be a delay, obviously, but
I can't tell if I'm seeing
let's
the
see, YouTube.
the last letters are TRMFL.
It's,
I tell you what, I'm gonna
it says
wait.
we're live now. Yeah, it says we're live now. So whole song and dance,
Hmm.
folks. Okay, I've got the link. Yeah, we're very
Let's see.
here's your link, Kerry.
Okay.
I just sent it to you in Skype. Do
I
you
can't
have
tell
it?
if I'm seeing. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
you can post that. YouTube.
Um, the last letters are TRMFL. I tell you what, I'm gonna
It
wait.
says we're live now. Yeah.
When I
I'm hearing us talking in the past.
Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, now I see it. So we'll try.
Okay, so if you want to post that, and I guess you could stop streaming
Okay.
us 30 seconds ago.
We quit streaming?
No, I'm saying you
Oh,
can
oh,
you can close that window and you can keep us from. So I'm hearing us from 30 seconds ago.
oh. What do I need to close?
Whatever YouTube, you've got YouTube in the
Oh,
background, or is
when I,
that me?
oh,
I'm hearing.
well,
Okay, I gave you the link. It might have been me. Okay.
okay. All right, so
Hey, we're rookies, folks. Give us a break.
that's
Okay.
right.
But now we're streaming, we hope, because we had this whole presentation and we did it, and it just, we were talking to ourselves apparently. So it's probably better because my audio was muted at the time. So I don't know if anybody's watching us, all two of you, if we even have that. Okay, so at least people can watch us later. They're all having a good laugh or thinking of what are these two knuckleheads doing? But I'll wait because at least we know we're up
That's right.
on
I'm sharing it
Facebook.
on Twitter, and I'll go share it on Facebook real quick.
Okay. Let me see if I can have it set so we can maybe answer questions
Okay.
if we get anybody. So we've been up for 3 minutes and 20 seconds and we haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, yeah, we're all new at this,
Yeah.
but we'll get it.
Bear with us, folks.
That's right.
Whoops. Wow, look at all that. No, we don't want that,
Oh,
do we?
guess I ought to go Steam.
Okay. And everybody gets to see my laptop. Whoops, it's 2020. We want 2021. Just a new game. Let's try this again. I bet people are going to watch this just for the comedy value.
All right. We'll see if this actually.
See if people
Go ahead.
actually look. Did you try Facebook as well?
Yeah,
How about Steam?
I'm doing that right now. So let's try.
People are going to be like, what are these knuckleheads doing? We're rookies.
Here you go.
Okay, so you
All
put
right.
on
All right.
Steam. So it's Steam Twitter, and Facebook, right?
That's yeah.
Oh, Lord. All right, well.
What's the worst can happen?
All right, well, introductions. My name is Mike, and I have to the left here on the screen, you see the current beta of Pro Strategy Football 2021, and below me is the game's creator, Kerry Batts, who also created Tom Landry's Strategy Football in the 90s. And this game is actually a modern day enhancement for Tom Landry from back in the day, and we're going to go over the changes that Kerry is making and his additions to the game. For starters, Kerry, you have here on the bottom of the screen for the game. Let's see if I can move this over just a little bit and try to make this a little bigger and maybe look disproportionate. But you have show background 0, and this is for your, you're trying to determine what you want for the game's main screen. So people can vote, I guess, if they want to contact you. This is last year's, the 2020 version. This is background number 1 that you're considering for the new game. Background number 2, and this is for, again, this is the main menu background. Background 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So you have 0 through 9. And 9 is actually the 2019 version, and 0 is 2020. Kerry, we went through this whole song and dance and nobody saw it. But let's talk about, I wanted to go to, we're trying to make this a lot shorter than before. One thing you've added, I'm going to go into the editor and I'm going to go into a league, and we'll go to the 2010s decade, which is a homemade league, and we're going to go to edit league. You've added, right where I'm moving my mouse, we already have the ability of having a custom image set where we can have fan-made helmets and uniforms and logos and end zones and stadiums and what have you. But down here, you have the same thing for, instead of just the graphics, for audio. And there is a default, but you have made some, I'm going to save it. We can have our own audio folder as well as our own image folder. So if you wanted to elaborate on that.
Yeah, that's right. And by the way, I keep looking over there because I don't see the game on my screen. That's okay. Let's not mess with anything, but I can see it over there. So, like you said, last year started the I had begun some customization in 2019. Then last year beefed up the editor to let you do a lot. And you and a few other guys.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead. I was going to turn on screen share. That's what I forgot for this. But you were saying.
Well, so Mike, the host, and a few other guys went through and created all these leagues from the past. One guy on their dream teams actually created some fantasy leagues. There's been college leagues created, high school leagues, and people can modify the images so they can look like, whatever you want. And by images, that's the helmets you see on the gameplay, but also the player sprites when you're watching the animation. Well, so this year's version is going to go one step further and do that with audio. And there's already been some pretty cool changes. My default audio, these files are from the original Tom Landry game. So back in '92. Well, you and a couple other guys have given me some sounds that sound much better. And so I worked on, for a couple of weeks, getting this to work so that I could choose audio sets just like I can choose image sets. And what's nice is it looks in there first, and then if it doesn't find something, then it goes and uses the default. So maybe you create something where you only care about changing a few files. You can do that. The next step is going to be, this is something that's going to be worked on from now probably through July, because you and the other testers keep finding great things to add. So for example, right now it's at a league level. So you get cheers, you get blocking noises, you get the whistle. You get intercepted, you get fumble. Well, we're going to add some, and the other thing is you're going to show them shortly that you now get those sounds during the animation instead of at the end. So you get intercepted right when it happens. And if that guy turns around, runs 10 yards and fumble it, you see and hear fumble right then. Um, but we've had some discussions, and we've talked about where I'm going to add support for team level, so that maybe before a kickoff, maybe there's a chant that that team does. Maybe after a touchdown, there's a particular cheer they do. On third down, maybe the home team has a cheer they do for hold that line and so forth. And this has great potential. As a college fan, I can see me wanting to load in some real college sounds for how when you get a first down or you get a touchdown and so forth. And of course, that it's mainly the home team, but if you're at a championship game, you would hear both of them. So I've got to add some logic for it. But what's great is, like I said, you and a couple other beta testers, you guys are already, you're giving me ideas and you're already creating some sample audio. So in a big nutshell, that's what it is everybody, you'll be able to create your own. It's up to you now. It becomes just like it was with images. It's up to the community. What do you want to have for sounds? Maybe you can do everything in German. Maybe you do everything in Gaelic. You've got a Lord of the Rings league or something, and
Oh, wow.
or a Star Wars league, and they chant in Vulcan or something. So
Well, now you're going to Star Trek, but
right.
let me see if I can get the screen share screen. Okay. Um, Share screen. Are you able to see the screen now?
Yeah, yeah, I think
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Now we're good. All right. I'm going to put this down here. Okay. I'm going to everyone please bear with us. I'm going to go to the Dream Teams mod. Oh, and we'll switch leagues, and there's a test button, and I hit it, and you can hear
Second down. Third
sample
down.
sounds.
Yeah, and right now it plays all the sounds because this is beta, so I'm trying to make sure it does it. Later, maybe I make that where it pops up and you can choose which sound you want to hear. Otherwise, you've got to sit and listen to every sound. So
Now, again, everybody, that's a custom one. That's not one that comes with the game. But I was just showing you the option that you can actually select your sounds. And since we're on that topic, there's no more. In the past, you had to go to the search bar on Windows and type in percentage, local app data percentage to get to the menu, to get to where the files are. Everything now is going to be stored in the default Windows Documents folder.
yeah,
So all you have to do is go into the Documents folder for your leagues, for any custom anything. And you can go into your Documents folder where there will be a Pro Strategy Football 2021 main file, and then you've got the audio and leagues and CSV files and all of that. So there's no more hunting around and typing in this uh,
yeah, it was a
computer.
nightmare. Now it's going
Yeah,
to be much friendlier.
won't have to do that anymore.
That's
Okay.
right.
And as a bonus for people who have the 2020 game, uh, they will be able to convert. Uh, right now, it's just the base leagues. It's not a career, unfortunately, at least at this stage in beta, or you said single season, you might be able to do.
That's right.
But you'll be able to convert automatically you can have a new file architecture, but you'll be able to convert over uh, by putting it in a directory. Just automatically convert it, and you'll be able to play without even thinking about it.
That's right.
So that's a nice bonus. Um, so I'm going to go into quick play, and we had this is something I had pitched, and Kerry said he might be able to do it. If you see where I'm moving the mouse, where it says the quick play league, well, I pitched if you go to the having two buttons instead of this one on the far left where I'm moving the mouse, it'll be you're picking your league for the visiting team, and if you go to the far right, there'll be a button. You're picking your league from the home team, and this is just for quick play exhibition games. This way, you can play any uh, team from League A against any team in League B. So you'll be able to play anybody against anybody in exhibition mode. you don't have to have them all in the same league file, which, if Kerry could do that, that'd be great. But we're going to go to, we had played, uh, um, let's do a new one, Kerry. Let's do a new one. Do you still want to do Dallas, Seattle, or do you want to try a different matchup?
That's fine. And you know what? So right here, I could even put a button on the left and on the right that lets you change the league here. So that's an interesting thought you've got. I'll think about that.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah,
But if we could do that, then you could play a college team against an XFL team,
that's
or a
right.
high school team.
That's right.
You can play anybody against anybody.
That's right.
Uh,
And Texas has some high school teams that could beat. I won't say who, but that could be some. It could be some pro teams.
League rules. I would show this. If you
Yeah.
can see down where it says downs, you've added a toggle
Yep.
for 3 downs as a limit instead of 4, and this is for is it Canadian?
Yeah, Canadian.
So that's a nice touch, and I have, as a beta tester, I did test it, and it does work. So Kerry is making little additions like that for this game. Do you still want this matchup, Kerry?
Yeah, that's fine. How about what if you make them both computer and you just sim it real quick and then we check the highlights out?
That's what I was going to do.
All right.
Okay, so I'll go. Let's just, for the heck of it, analyze game, which I think is a neat function. And this is in your prior games.
Mhm.
You can sim it 100 or 1,000 times. We'll do 100. And according to this, Seattle wins 35% of the time, and Dallas wins 65. So Dallas has a 65% chance of winning. So we'll go. Let's do this, and we'll go just sim.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Seattle.
Whoa!
Maybe we should have gone before, because when we played this before, folks, Dallas won.
That's
But
okay. Maybe someone got injured.
now we'll go to highlights. And you know what, Kerry? Before we could do this, but I think part of the reason was that you can adjust before we do this.
And you can do it here too, remember? So go back into that.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah, you're talking about the settings?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks, this is something that's kind of cool. Coaching is auto-suggest. The AI will auto-suggest your offense or defensive play. There's the realism, which I believe is the same as last year. Sounds. I'm not playing the music. I am now, but I'm not going to play because I don't want to talk over you. But here's something that Kerry has added that's really, really cool. He's added player size. There's normal. You make the players larger or smaller. I'm going to go smaller for demonstration purposes. You can do a slower animation for like slow-mo. We'll go normal. Now there's animation messages. And Kerry, why don't you explain that to us?
Yeah, so as background, this game is all about realism and simulation. So the animation is not playing out the play. The animation is showing the results of the play. What happened is during a play, we look at, and this was done as my master's project and with Coach Tom Landry back in the early 90s. So we try to make it as realistic as possible. So when you see the play results, those are statistical. Now, a great quarterback may throw 3 incompletes in a row, and if you were to actually see the numbers, you might see because of the play calling, he had 75% chance on each one, but he had bad luck. Well, so when you're watching the animation, what used to happen was I animated the whole play, and then at the end of it had the audio and visual commentary. And Mike and a few other guys said, hey, it'd be much more immersive, and they were right. I'm enjoying the game much more myself, and I'm the creator. If I'm just watching a play or coaching, I'm enjoying much more, because now what happens is during the play, I create these things called, I'm tagging certain events on every frame of the animation. And because I can do that, I can now put players' names on the field, and I can put a message on the field, like intercepted, at the frame where it happens instead of at the end, and I can play sounds. So if you throw an interception, the second it's intercepted, you're going to see that message and hear it. And then if he runs it back 10 yards and fumbles it, you're going to see another one. And then if they pick it up and run it, the offense picks it up and runs the rest of the way for a touchdown, picking up a second fumble, you would hear and see that as well. So it's much cooler getting it in the during the play instead of at the end.
Okay. And the messages now, when it appears, it will either appear, what I have set up here is at the top of the screen where the scoreboard is. So if it's intercepted, you'll see on the scoreboard where the time is all. So just for that brief moment, the moment it's intercepted, it'll say intercepted. If I toggle it on the bottom of the screen, on the very bottom below the field of play, it's never covering up the field of play. You can have it appear on the bottom of the screen where it says menu and all of that. During the play, you're not going to touch it anyway, but it will say fumble or what have you right as it happens. But we're going to go back to top.
And people may say, why are you giving me so many options? Well, that's just it. I'm giving you the options, right? So you can choose where you want them.
You're making the game customizable for how we play it. And
That's right.
I think that's one of the strengths of your game is you're building it to be customizable and for the fans out there to make their own everything and make it available to the public, or just even if they just keep it for themselves. They have their own private league. They don't share with anybody. They don't have to. But you've made it shareable. You've made it so that the fans can build their own anything. Fictional league, like you said, there's a fictional. Was it? There's a website that's devoted to fictional league, with its own uniforms and everything. But you can go real life, college, pro, high school, and I think that's one of the strengths of this game. But the animation names, it's what it does is this is a neat feature. You're about to see it, but it'll say it's key players at start. Don't do it at all. The ball carrier only. What this is at the beginning of the play. I'm going to leave it key players at start. You're going to see, except for the offensive lineman, the defensive lineman, because they're so close. You're going to see underneath above every player, their jersey number and their name. In the color, the background is the color of their uniforms. So once the ball is snapped, whoever's got the ball, or you could just have it set so it's always just the ball carrier. But I'm going to have it set this way, or turn it off completely. Once the ball is snapped, the quarterback's got the ball. You just see the quarterback's name and jersey number. And then who he hands off to, throws to, picks off, fumble recovery, whatever, then you'll see their names. So, and we're going to make the normal size. So everybody can see here. All right, here's a touchdown pass by Jim Zorn. So if you watch, these players are smaller than normal. And you see on the top, it said caught, and we'll go through this again. Okay, I paused the play, and Kerry, as you actually see, with the exception of the offensive lineman and the defensive lineman, Kerry is showing everybody, and if you see, it's their jersey colors for their actual jersey number and their name. And Kerry, I think this looks fantastic.
Thank you. And I like it a lot too. And what was interesting was some of these options came into play after you and a few other guys. Some of you said, "Hey, I'd like to see a smaller name." Others said, "I'd like the name to be this size," and even the player size. So I wound up giving 3 options. But I enjoy this more. I think it's more immersive. And the options you've got is the options I like. I like to see all the names at the start so I can, I see my safeties back there. Cliff Harris, Charlie Waters.
Yeah.
I like this. Yeah.
And you see Jim Zorn as the quarterback,
Right.
and you've got Dornick Smith as his running backs. Largent on the bottom of the screen. So, and then I will play. And then when the ball snaps, the only one you're going to see is Zorn.
Right.
He's the quarterback. And then you see where it's caught, and this happens to be a touchdown. On the top right, it says caught. And it will do that for each play result, or we can do it on the bottom where it says replay, reverse play, where that menu is. So you have the option of flip-flopping it if you want on the top or the bottom.
Yeah, and you may have heard custom sounds there too. I can't hear it. So
Yeah, this is custom sounds.
good, cool.
Okay. So let's
See if there's any kind of interception or fumble or anything like that.
yeah, let's see. Field goal stopped on 4. Interception. Here's an interception. Okay, here's an example.
Oh man,
Okay, so we'll do a replay. Okay, and see, right when the interception happens, I paused, and you saw the interception take place. It says interception at the top, and you see who the ball carrier is. You see the person who's intercepted the ball. Okay, now, if we go into options,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to make the players larger.
Ooh.
All right, now let's see the interception with look how the size difference.
And you know, some people like that, especially on the like a mobile device or something. But they're pretty big, aren't they?
Yeah,
But you know, if that's like you said, I like giving people the option. Somebody may prefer that.
and let's go bottom of the screen now, where we see the interception prompt. It'll be on the bottom where my mouse is moving. So you can customize how you see the game.
That's right.
It's a neat little bonus.
And there will be more sounds, you know, because we haven't thought of everything. Because now that we're doing this, and I say we because, yeah, I'm coding and all, but I think it's collaborative because I'm getting such great feedback from you and the other couple of guys. Um, so I can see adding a sound like a groan sound or a cheering sound in this case because it's at Seattle. When they stopped them on fourth down, it would have been nice maybe to hear a cheer before that play or a chant, you know, and then hear them some kind of special cheer maybe at the end of that. So there's a lot of growth here, and I'll continue adding to it.
Okay, let's do another matchup just for laughs. Maybe we'll get like a block kick or something.
Sure, sure.
So let's do Patriots from '76, and well, let's have them play the Raiders from '77 or '76 as well.
Make them both computer.
Whoops, yeah, let's make them both computer and just sim. And the
Whoa!
Raiders ran them over.
Whoa!
Well, the Patriots were the only team to beat them that year. That's why I figured I'd give them a.
Whoa!
Let's see.
There's a lost fumble.
Oh, okay. Oh, and a blocked
There's a
punt.
blocked punt. Yay!
Okay. All right. Let's see the lost fumble.
Look at that field too. How was that? I can't hear it. Was it good?
Yeah, sounded good.
Good.
Do it again.
All right. Boom!
Okay. Let's go to a blocked punt. There's Patrick to punt. And he picks up his.
Oh my gosh! Oh man! I thought he was going to get a first down.
I have to see that again. I was too busy throwing my head back laughing.
Yeah.
Now, again, folks, these are custom sounds. These aren't the sounds that come with the game. But we neither are the teams, to be honest with you, the uniforms and the fields and all that. Those are all homemade. But that's one of the great things. I mean, they're all free to download. So, but that's one of the great things about this game. What was it? Interception. Oh, Jack Tatum with an interception. Let's see.
Yeah, let's check it out in case he fumbles or something.
Grogan. Throw it right to him, too.
Yeah, that would have been hard to miss.
Branch to Stabler.
Boom.
Look at Cliff Branch.
Yeah, it'd be great, you know, if I could code it so that I can play a. What would they say when he breaks loose? He's going to go all the way or something? We need something like that.
Somebody will steal Chris Berman audio and make it available.
He could go on.
Yeah. Let's see. One more fun sim. Maybe we'll get something. And then we can look at career mode because I know you wanted to talk about that. Let's see. That's not another matchup. Uh, Here's Fran Tarkenton's team.
Oh yeah.
And let's see. How about the cards?
Okay. Make them
Decent,
both confusing.
decent matchup. I could see that either way. Minnesota wins.
Wow.
All right, interception by right. And we can go back and I can make the players normal size.
By the way, this was your idea to use the team colors. I like it. Thank you for that.
Well, and you already have them in there. I mean,
Yeah.
let's see. I'm going to put on the top of the screen. I'll make the players normal size.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll go smaller names on the animations.
Yeah. I haven't tried that yet. That'll be good.
Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, look how that's kind of hard to read though.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but
And what I can do is maybe try to compromise. Maybe not go quite that small. Because I don't know why you would do it that small.
well, I mean, you're kicking around ideas,
Yep.
so I mean, it's not bad by any means.
No.
But let's go into career. And I know you had some things you were going to talk about free agency and the like. So I'm going to make a new career league, and we'll go back to 2010s and we'll make another one. There's more than one. And we toyed around with the Redskins as our sample. What team should we try? This is the best single season from every team in the 2010 decade. So
Maybe try Green Bay, I guess, right?
okay, Packers. Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll be.
They were
This
pretty good.
this is the year they went 15-1, and we will select them. And you were saying here, remember we talked about free agency and waivers. We can toggle it all off.
Yep. So, so for a few years, people have been asking for free agency, and there was a lot of re-architecting to my. I mean, doing what I've done took me over 3 months, but I wasn't sure I could do it because of salaries and all the stuff that goes into free agency. And a guy over on the Steam forums, Red Wolf, gave a proposal, and everybody who read it liked it. And I thought, I can do that. And it's more of a random thing. So there's no contracts. It's every year, some number of players on your team will become free agents if you turn this on. Because there were other people who said, I don't want it. I want to build my team and I do not want to lose any players. So I made this an option. And generally, when I add stuff to my game, I generally do make them options. So if you turn it off, you don't have it. If you turn it on, and you can do this every season, and you can change the number of free agents per team anywhere from 2 to 5. And then the draft, you can make it the same order as the rookie draft or the reverse order. And you can make it serpentine or not. And serpentine simply means if I get the first draft pick in this round, I'll get the last draft pick in the second round, and then it just keeps toggling. And then the other option is, if I do have free agency, do I want to allow franchise players? It's kind of cool having them. It's kind of cool not. So the other thing I may add, depending on, because in a few minutes we'll talk about other features we want to add, but if I can do it, I may add a waiver draft. The waiver draft would include any free agents who weren't picked up, any rookies who weren't picked up, and any players who were cut in the first round of the roster cuts. Don't know if I'll have that yet, but it is. I think I can do it since I've done the other two. But anyway, that's where we are right now. So what's cool about this is because this now has players moving among teams. Hit go, and let's do this. Let's simulate a few seasons. Just say simulate current season, and do the whole season. So say everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and by the way, folks, it's because it's doing all this in memory. That's why it's so fast. But it is actually playing every game of every week.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Go ahead and simulate a few more seasons.
Well, can we see how we did? Let's see. We were the
Sure.
Packers.
Sure.
Oops. I guess that's last season.
So click on history.
Where is? Oh, history. Here we go.
Yeah, and click on past
Past
seasons.
seasons.
Yeah. All right. So click on that 2019, and now look at the team standings
Okay.
where we
Now,
win.
now everyone, if you the number beside the city is the year of the team. So the 2011 Giants, the year they won the Super Bowl, 2017 Eagles. So the Packers that year are 15-1 in real life, and here in this game where they're playing the best of every team, they're 11-5. I mean, that's
Right.
believable. I mean, so these results are believable. Um, so some more than others. Look at the Patriots went 13-3. Well, they team of the decade. That's believable.
We're a Cleveland.
Uh, Cleveland, Cincinnati. Not exactly a huge surprise. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, our existing champions went 7-9.
Yeah.
But they're almost like an all offense, no defense team, and they're playing all these other great teams. And Denver was the highest scoring offense in history, 2013. So going 12-4, believable. Looks like Kansas City scored more points than they did, but
But gave up too much. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's go
Yes.
back.
Now look at the schedule, and you see New England beat New Orleans, and so if you step back in time, you can see who were in the playoffs too.
Yeah, and this was the Saints team that probably should have been in the Super Bowl with the Rams were in instead. So
Would
so this was almost this Super Bowl almost happened.
Yeah.
So New England, the team of the decade, wins this
That's right.
simulation. Hey, that's kind of hard to argue. And so, but let's go to the beginning where wild card round. Okay, the 15-1 Packers beat the Super Bowl champion Seahawks. The Giants, the year they beat the Patriots, squeaked by the Minneapolis Miracle. Baltimore from last year beat the Jets, and Denver, highest scoring offense ever, beat a good offense. So these results are believable. Wow, New England squeaked by Baltimore. That
Man,
was
what a game that would have been.
Yeah, that was close. Look at that. So Jackson couldn't get any farther than that, but I mean, look who they lost to. Um, and yeah, oh, look at that. You had Peyton Manning against Tom Brady. Kind of hard to argue.
Yeah,
That's pretty realistic.
that's
And you
right.
had Eli Manning, you had the other Manning against Drew Brees. I mean, this is kind of hard to argue.
That would have been cool to have two Mannings against each other, wouldn't it?
Eli, yeah, against Peyton. That would have been. Okay, so let's back out. What did you want to?
So go back out again.
Okay, now
And
look at Matt Ryan, the leading passer.
yeah,
That's believable.
yeah.
Okay.
So simulate one more season, maybe.
So where am I going? Simulate, well, not current season, or
Yeah,
just it. Okay, hit
yeah,
that and everything.
yeah.
Okay.
And here's why I want to do that.
Okay.
I don't know what's going to happen, but click on history again,
Okay.
and this time click on players. Um, so let's think of a player, maybe Drew Brees. So click thanks and
It's funny. That's who I was thinking of.
All right.
So
Now,
last name.
yeah. So this is new. I've added this year, and you'll be able to see any player throughout your whole career. So if you play 50 years of a career, they will be in here. Now, what I may do later is add a search function because you can see what you're having to do right now. But what I don't know is, he retired.
Retired.
Oh, man.
But now remember that these teams were created with
At least
these
40
homemade
years
teams
old.
were created with
Yeah.
their actual age
Yeah.
and all of that. So he retired after this season. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it's possible. Was
Yeah.
Brady still playing? I have to look that up. But yeah. But you were saying, I'm sorry, you were saying.
No. So the sad thing is, yeah. So go back to team players because the interesting thing is, there's no way yet for me to show. What I would like to find is somebody who played on two different teams, and you really can't see that without clicking on a player to see. But you could click on Tom Brady to see if
Yeah.
just by any chance.
He's
Oh, look at there, he did.
he went
Well,
to the He went to
He
the
is now in
Panthers.
Carolina. Go simulate the current season.
Okay. Well,
So
that's
go
funny.
back.
He hasn't retired, just like real life.
That's right.
And his actual age is, well, you know what it is? 2016. Because
Yeah.
this was from the 2016 team, so that makes sense. And Drew Brees was 2018. Okay. So you
Yeah.
want to go back and, I'm sorry, you wanted
Simulate this season because now you'll get to see Breeze play at Carolina.
okay. So
By the way,
everything.
I like Drew Brees. I meant Brady, but yeah, I like Drew Brees.
Okay.
So now go to history again and let's look at Tom Brady.
Okay.
Oh, it's already on there because it remembered your previous pick.
Yeah.
I'm assuming people would like that. If they don't, I can change it. But
Uh, I, it's not wrong. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think I overshot Brady, or did I?
there you go, Tom Brady.
He's retired now.
He's retired. But you see,
Still believable.
but you see what you see there is his career totals.
Wow.
And you see that he played 1 year at Carolina and he played 2 years at New England. So what's interesting is that now if you go look on either one of those teams and look at their history, he will show up, but you'll see only his yards for them. So let's go look at Carolina real quick and look at their passers.
Okay, before I do, you see
Sure.
where it says 15 Carolina, 16 New England? It's because it's the 2015 Carolina Panthers is what the
Right.
teams were named, the 2016 Patriots. So people go, what's the 15, 16 in front of it? That's the year of the team that was built for this league. So I just don't want confusion. But you were saying you want me to go and look at.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that because folks, normally if you've got a league that is on 1 year, you won't see the year on the teams because
It'll just be New England or Carolina.
That's right.
Right.
This is a best of league. That's what, so if you click on history now
Okay.
and click on teams, and you'll have to find Carolina. There won't be alphabetized because of the years. There it is. Yeah. And now click on players down at the bottom. Because see here what you see is Carolina's history. They were 8-8, 7-9, 7-9. But now if you click on players, you'll see their passers. And there's Brady, third right there. So you see how many yards Brady had with Carolina. And by the way, there's a great website, Pro Football something.
Reference.
Yes. That is what I'm using as a guide for laying these screens out. So now if you click on Brady, you'll see his history, and there you go. So you can see for any player his yards with that team or his whole history. And you can see his rushing and receiving too. I doubt he had any receiving, but he may have had some rushing yards.
That's very neat. That's very neat.
So that's new. So if you notice, the reason he has on two teams is because I added free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still tweaking that a little bit, so we won't go through that tonight. But the free agency works. It works really well. The franchise player is what I'm working on right now, and it's working. I just don't have the AI working for it yet, but I'll get that in there next. And then I may add a waiver draft. But before I do the waiver draft, if it's okay with you, I'll switch to some of the things I want to work on next.
Sure. All right.
So you can see all the things I've added so far. And this weekend, I'm going to be working on some more audio and animation. By the way, I mentioned weekend. That's because I have a real job. This is what I do on weekends. Some nights, but I've got a family too, so mainly weekends.
Right.
Well, Mike is one of my beta testers and gives me great ideas. And so this weekend I'll be working on the some more audio, some more, and that's going to last for a couple of months because as we keep having ideas, same with the animation stuff. But the animation's pretty close to done. So the next thing I'm going to work on, and I'm looking up here is where I've got my list of things. I'm going to work on making it possible. And it will be possible. I don't know what the level of effort's going to be yet. I think it's going to be somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks. But Mike's had some ideas. I've got some ideas. So I am going to put in the ability to do season play with any size league. If you've got 4 teams in your league, you can do that. If you've got 28 teams, in college, I'm a big college fan. If you've got 120 teams, maybe 128, I think I'll go ahead and expand it to take 128. Then you'll be able to play a season. How that's done is still what I'm designing. I may give you screens to build those, or if you just tell me to automate it, I may build a rough one, and then I hope I can maybe even make it so you can import and export to CSV. Those are all details. The details are still to be worked out, but the point is that will be in the game. Some more coaching options I've added, not in the game yet, but I started on work on like an empty backfield, dime, zone blitz. I would like to add read. I don't know yet. If I add read, that's something the offense has. So I kind of have need to let the defense maybe shadow the quarterback or something. So some of those are still up in the air. What gets added because of time constraints, but something else will be added.
I like to see run and shoot.
I know.
If I wanted to play with like the Warren Moon Oilers, I'd like that option. That'd be kind of fun.
So that's an interesting question because you can already do a four wide, a no tight end offense. So that support is there, but what's not there is I think what you're saying is you would like me to set it up so that if San Francisco or if Warren Moon, you would want them to only call that offense in most situations, right?
Their default, let's call it their default. Yes. Like I know that Elway's Broncos in the '80s, that their default formation on offense was actually shotgun.
But, and see, I can do that. And so I'll work on that also. Oh, and there's some other things. You had mentioned, wouldn't it be great if even though Larry Zonka is my fullback, if I can set this new attribute called run percent, and if I set Larry Zonka to 90, and I don't know if it was Mercury Morris or someone else, but maybe I set him at a lower value, maybe 70. Those then are proportional. That doesn't mean Zonka would get it 90% of the time, but if you set the other guy at 10, then it would be 90%. So that's something I'm looking at adding so that you have control on designating the ball carriers and receivers, right?
Right. I mean, it's an example. The Browns from the '60s, Jim Brown, running back. He should be getting John Riggins and the Redskins in the '80s. He should be getting. They ran with them. They were a running team, both of them, and they ran with them a lot. Zonka is an example, but I mean, they did run a lot with Morris, just like Harris and Blyer. But they were dominantly running with Riggins and dominantly running with Jim Brown. So sometimes I think the game hasn't reflected that, but I would like the option of being able to key that, hey, this guy is the go-to guy for running the ball. Now, you're not going to – so if Jim Brown ran it, there's also the amount of times you run the ball, but you already have set up, your heavy running team. And we'll build them as a heavy running team like the Browns.
Yep.
So that's in there, but the person that should be getting the ball the majority of the time is Jim Brown or John Riggins or whoever else. So
Earl Campbell,
Earl Campbell. There's another good example. So once in a rare while you hand off to the halfback or fullback that you use sparingly, but you want to give it to you want to see Jim Brown running it 20 times and getting 100 yards at a game. I mean,
so that brings up 2 points. And one, I want to thank you for that. That's a great idea. I've gone ahead and added the attributes to the players, so that would let me add the logic at some point, hopefully before September. But if not before September, it's something I could add after. But you have a good point.
But that's in a typical game. If the Browns are down 28-0 at the beginning of the second quarter, they're going to be throwing the ball because they've got to. I mean, you're not just going to keep giving it to Jim Brown. You're going to have right. But generally speaking, in a typical game, if things are going the Browns' way, they're going to be giving it to Jim Brown. He's going to be running up and down all over the field.
Yeah, and you mentioned heavy running a second ago. So currently, to make it easy for people, I give you 5 settings: heavy running, somewhat heavy running, balanced, and then the same thing on passing.
Right.
Well, the original Landry game actually had very detailed, where I could say, inside my own red zone, on first down and this range of yards, what's my percentages on all 5 of the plays? Inside run, short, middle runs, end runs, short pass, medium pass, long pass. Same thing for second down, and then second and long, second and medium. Because a heavy running team, you may have them on 2nd and 13, still run the ball 60% of the time, 80% of the time, right?
Right.
So I may add that in this year to give you that fine level of control on your team. And it also, then you've got another setting between the 20s and then another setting when you're in their red zone. So that's one thing. Now, another thing that we need to think about is if you are going to designate that a back is going to get the ball 80% of the time, then that defense is going to key on him. And in the game right now, when they key, they greatly increase their chances of stopping him. But, maybe I need to, he's already got a strength factor, so I may have to think of some other factor that says, I know with Earl Campbell and some of these others we've named, even if you key on him, I mean, we've seen these guys carry 5 guys on their backs.
Yeah, and this is why when you got a running back like that, they're nines. I mean, they're just flat out nines. Barry Sanders, just because of his agility and speed, and he could stop on a dime and spin around. He's a 9. I mean, when you got somebody like that,
That's right.
even if you've got a defense that's stacked, he's
That's
still
right.
Barry Sanders. I mean, he's still, not to say he can't be stopped, but even if you key on him,
Yeah.
sometimes he's still going to break loose every once in a while. It's just because he's Barry Sanders. I mean, yeah.
I've got a new attribute I've thought about, but again, it's one of those things, I get lots of ideas, called impact player.
Mm-hmm.
And if a guy like Barry Sanders or Earl Campbell has a high impact rating, now I'm assuming, because the defenders might have high impact ratings too, but assume the defenders have impact rating of maybe an 8 and he's got an impact rating of 9 and it's 4th and 1, you have a pretty darn good chance. You wouldn't want to guarantee it, but you want to have a much better chance of getting a first down with him than with someone else.
Well,
right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, but if you got, say, you can also have it as a wash. Let's say you got Jerry Rice
That's
on
right.
offense as a receiver. He's up against Rod Woodson.
That's right.
Okay, they're going to be a wash, generally speaking. So
That's,
basically, that comes down to
that's
that
right.
might come down more to your offensive play call
Exactly.
versus the defensive play call. And if the offensive play call is better than the defense, then
That's right.
advantage Rice, or if it's the other way around, then it's advantage Woodson.
And that's a good point because there's a lot to this game. There's no one part that guarantees you're going to get 80-0 blowouts like some other football games do. Instead, it's little things, and they all add up to give you percentages. So, for example, if it's raining, if I'm on offense, and if I need to pass, I'm probably going to have my guy do a hook or something because he knows he's going to hook. The defense doesn't know, so that defender has a better chance of falling down. Now, my guy may fall, but it gives you a slight advantage. I mean, we're talking 3 or 4 or 5%, not 30%.
It's a better odds on rolling the dice.
And if I see
But even then, you could still screw up. Yeah.
If I see you blitzing your middle linebacker constantly, I'm going to throw a circle route to my halfback because I'm now throwing that ball where you just left. You still could tap that ball. You could, your guy's blitzing.
Right.
But if he does catch it, there's nobody there to tackle him. So I'm probably going to get at least 7 or 8 yards, if not more. So those are the kind of things you can do in the game. And so, like you said, and if I know you're keying on the back or you're keying flow, maybe I'll call a counter, So.
And we did play a game.
Yeah.
We played. You were the Cowboys, and I was you were Staubach's Cowboys, and I was Jim Kelly's Bills. And
bring up the one where you beat me. Remember that one?
That was a great game.
It was a great game, and I held you, and you punted, and my stupid punt returner fumbled.
And I had to punt, and your possession, you had a chance of tying or winning the game. And
Yep.
But I was referring to I remember it was Poole. I lost. I kept losing defensive backs, and Poole was a backup, and he kept coming in for everybody. And you took advantage of that because you knew he was lower rated, and you threw to somebody that Poole was covering, and you scored.
That's right.
So that kind of logic I like, and I remember it. I clearly remember that. I was like, you took advantage of this, and you're like, that's exactly what I did. I knew your man was out. I went to his backup, threw to his direction, and scored. And coaches do that in real life, which is something I really like about this game. You've really orchestrated it to be. You have to really think about how you're going to call your plays, who you're up against. So I think that's one of the really nice things. It's not something that's just like some games. It's just animation determined.
Right.
You've already made the call. We're watching it play out, but it's taken into account all of those things to give you the result, and the results come out pretty realistic. I mean, look what we did when we simmed the best of the 2010s. You had New England beating Tom Brady beating Drew Brees.
And then now they're both
Completely
back
believable.
in NFL.
Completely believable. Even though the Saints didn't make a Super Bowl this decade, completely believable. So yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to go through?
Well, I just want to thank you, for doing this because
Sure.
I'm a programmer, but my son's much younger than me. In their eyes, I'm kind of a Luddite when it comes to some of this modern technology, and they laugh at me. So I've never done a stream before. So this was cool.
Well, I have, but I haven't done it with the Skype screen sharing, and I had it originally set up for everybody to click on this link, and it happens at 8 o'clock Eastern time. And I couldn't connect to that, so I went a different route. And we had this whole song and dance, you and me, Kerry, and no one saw it. And my audio was muted. But now that we've figured this out, cross our fingers,
Yeah.
we could do it. And if we want to try to do this again in the future, and maybe you could take questions from people, get ideas, we'll set it up for that. And you could communicate to everybody, show them the beta. Okay, here's where the
Yeah.
beta is now. We've changed this, we've added this, we've modified this. Now you can do this. I think people would be really interested in seeing how you're making this game grow. And hopefully I'll get the screen set up so that we can do Q&A that you can see it too.
Okay.
But maybe that's down the road. But I want to thank you for taking the time to come and do this. This is a blast. Um, the only sports we have right now is the NFL draft, which is on television right now.
Yeah.
So, and this game, and this is something since we're talking about this, and I had pitched this earlier. I want there to be a season. I want there to be hockey. I want there to be basketball. I want to see the playoffs happen. Both leagues have talked about it. Major League Baseball's talk about doing some kind of season. If we don't have a NFL season, what I'd like to do, and I'd like to get hopefully others involved, and we actually have announcers, is I like to take your game, and I would like to every Sunday do what would have been, if it doesn't happen, and I don't wish this, a full season, sim it. What we do is we sim a week, but we're showing the game of the week.
Right.
And then we will go in and we will show highlights at halftime of all the other sim games, and then go back and watch that game. And we do it for every week, playoffs, Super Bowl. And we not only do this season, we do the decade files that were made. So we do a 1950s season, 60s AFL and NFL. And then we take the AFL and NFL winner and we have a Super Bowl, the best of the 60s.
Right.
70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, plus the existing season. I think that might be a lot of fun.
And college.
And college, I don't know if anybody who's really built anything college, so that might not be this year.
That's true.
But we already have all this other stuff built. It would just be a matter of I literally want live play-by-play call, and
Yeah.
then I can edit together the highlights from the week. Short of you're watching one game live, and I highlight and to just play it back for everybody to see all the highlights and do like a Sports Center-esque halftime. And then at the end of the game, standings, league leaders, stuff like that. I think it would be an absolute blast. So I'd like to try to do something like that. I might just do one season versus doing all of them. That might be just so much. But I mean, I think it'd be a hoot. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But when we were talking about the seasons, there's something we were going to talk about before last time that we And now I can't. Now it's slipping my mind, and it's making me upset because it's something we were talking about. Oh, the TV mode. This is
Yes.
an idea that I had pitched, and you might be able to do it when you go into the game. And I'll actually go into.
Uh,
Uh,
go into career or
okay.
season, but
Okay.
yeah, go back into your career. Go to the
Okay.
week one. Yeah.
Okay. And resume it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And click on week one.
Okay. Here was what my idea was.
Right.
I'm gonna show everybody. Um, right now, you can sim a game like the Detroit Green Bay game I'm showing, and play or watch, where you actually coach it or you're just watching it live. My idea was to have a button over here, like underscore, and it was called TV Sim. And when you select that, it creates where it says score, where I'm moving my mouse up and down, check boxes. You check a box under TV Sim of the game you're going to either play or watch, and you click on it. So let's say I click on, just being fictional, San Francisco, LA. Okay, I click on that, and then I say I'm going to play it, I'm going to coach it. Or I could watch. Okay, so when I do that, I do that. But all of the other games throughout the week are simmed. They're simmed. They don't show the results like when you click on sim, it will show you the who won, and then it doesn't do anything. It just they're simmed in the background. You can't see it.
Right.
You play your game, and the idea is when you get to the second quarter of your game, on the bottom left or scrolling on the bottom right to left, you're going to get score updates of all the other games that week from the first quarter. You're at the beginning of the second quarter. It will tell you where everybody is that whole week at the end of the first quarter. When you're at halftime, maybe you can go to a menu and show all the halftime scores. But when you get to the third quarter of your game, it shows you either constantly on the bottom, like if I'm pointing to this, pointing to the computer where my thumb is. On the bottom left, you have a box, and it's just constantly flipping, and it's showing you in the third quarter where all the halftime scores are, or it scrolls on the bottom of your screen from right to left. And then in the fourth quarter, it shows you the third quarter results. If you go into overtime, it shows you the finals. But if you're not overtime, the game's over. Once you come back out to this menu, it shows you all the results, and then you can click on all of the highlights. So this way, you're like the game of the week.
Right.
You're actually watching or playing the game of the week, and all the other games are already simmed, and it's telling you first, second, third, fourth quarter results. This might be a stretch, but maybe have a button that shows highlights instead of going through individually. It's just showing you each individual game. Okay, here's the Philadelphia Carolina game. Here are all the highlights, and then it advances to the next one. I mean, I don't know if that's too much, but if you could have a TV mode, I think that would be really, really cool if you're playing solo this game, and it would feel like literally television because you're constantly updating the scores.
Hey, Mike. So let's try something. Go ahead and scroll to the top, and don't simulate the top one. That's your game. But maybe just simulate like 3 games. Just click on sim.
Okay, so I'm going to sim the 3 games below mine. Okay.
Yeah.
There's 1, 2, 3. Okay.
So in the mode you're talking about, you wouldn't see these scores.
Correct. It basically simmed everything.
But now
everything down.
Yeah. So now I've got a question for you. Click on the Pittsburgh game.
The box score?
Yeah, anywhere on that row, and it'll bring it up. Okay. Yeah. So here we are. Now what I could do is add a next and previous, because here you can view the highlights. So you can show folks who maybe aren't used to this. Click on highlights down there, and see I can see the highlights of this game.
Okay.
And I can see the stats for this game. So if I go and then go back, click on the back button. Now from this screen, rather than me having to go back to the career screen, click the next game, maybe I've got button and just
next.
say, yeah. And
That,
maybe, yeah, I could do that.
yeah,
What
no,
do you
that would
think?
work. That would be great. It would just constantly advance to the next series of games. I think that's a fantastic idea because you've already got the architect. So again, yeah, all of these are blank. So if I hit TV Sim up here and you have all the check boxes and I select I'm coaching the Packers Lions game, I'm going to play or watch. All the other games are simmed. We just can't see the results.
That's
They're
right.
hidden until your game is over.
I'm writing down some notes. Yeah, again,
So
there's a lot.
basically, I just hit sim rest of the week. So all these games would be simmed in the background. We don't know what the results are. We can't.
Exactly.
You won't let us see it
That's
until
right.
our game is done. The only thing you'll do is when we're playing the game,
That's right.
is you're going to give us updates
Yes.
during the quarters.
And that, if you think about it, that should be doable because if it's at the end of your first quarter, now I do know some people who've told me they hate any kind of interruptions when they're watching a game live.
Mm-hmm.
So I can either, like you say, well, just start streaming it across the bottom at the end of the first quarter, because within no time I could see all, if there's 16 games a week, I'm only seeing 15 scores go across the bottom. That's not bad. But the other option is at the end of a quarter, I can easily make it where, I can either go ahead and jump to the next quarter, or I can see other scores, and boom, right there on the screen.
Just put up a full screen and have all the scores
That's right.
after the first quarter.
Yep.
That would work. I mean, it doesn't have to be in the game. I mean, I like that idea, but what you're proposing would work too. It would accomplish the same thing. It could
Yep.
be like a commercial,
Yeah.
you're in the studio and okay, here's where we stand with all the other games after the end of the first quarter, second quarter, halftime, et cetera, et cetera. That would work.
Well, I can try both because I like your idea of seeing it, especially if I'm coaching. It's pretty easy. It's when I'm watching a game be played out that they might. But even then, I could show it, maybe streaming across somewhere. Yeah. So that's a great idea. I've added it to my ever-growing list of.
we're gonna murder you with all these requests.
Hey, man, I've got enough to work on it for 10 years. I like
Yeah.
that.
Well, you could also just pause the playback.
Sure.
If we're in the second quarter and you give them first quarter results, if it's just like on the bottom left, lower left of the screen, you could pause. When it happens, it's actually pausing the playback. It just fades it in,
That's not a
fades it
bad
out,
idea.
hut, boom, and then off it goes your next play.
I
So
can do
you're
that.
not missing the action. Here's a score update.
You know what else I can do is go ahead and click on week one. Let's see what we're talking about here, and click on play or watch, and change both of them to computer, and hit let's do this. And this time click watch live. So what you'll get is you can click skip if you want to skip this animation, but
Yeah.
it's up to you. Now you notice. Now watch this. Nice. And there's a little timer. Click on that question mark before the timer expires. So, right here, I could have highlights. So if I wanted to see a screen of the highlights as of now, but maybe I would only update it every quarter or something. But like you said, I could also be showing it at the bottom, just a very slight pause. And the only reason I would bring this up is I might go, wait a minute. The Cowboys are leading the Patriots by 3. Let me double check that. So I click this and bring up the scores when I see it. So
That would work too.
So I like your idea of the TV mode, and it might be something I could do in a weekend, maybe 2. So I'll work on the scheduling first, since that's the biggest thing to do. But
I think it is. And again, when it comes to scheduling, you could just keep it simple for us. Do like what Front Page Sports Football did in the 90s. You give us a template for 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, then actual seasons like 24, 26, 28, 30, 31, 32. And just have a generic schedule in there. We
Yeah.
can, I mean, if you want to have us export, import a CSV where we can modify our own schedules, that's great too. But at least give us a generic template of, I only want to have an 8 team league. Click
Yeah.
on 8 team. Okay. Put in your teams. Type in, we'll give it generic names. You type in everything. You can move teams over from other leagues into it. And here's your schedule. This is what you're stuck with, but here's your schedule. And people would just go with it. I mean, the more customizable scheduling is great, but for this upcoming season, I think just to get us started, if you could just do that alone, and we could just play a season that way, which I mean, I saw somebody post, "Hey, I want to play." Um, it was 1950s. I want to play the 1950 season, but there's no
Yeah.
schedule. What do I
That's,
do? And people were saying, well, the only thing you can do is, aside from exhibition, is make a 32 team, throw them in there, and maybe throw some teams in the 60s. That's the only way you can do it now. Which at least we can do it. But if you're able to do this, somebody can actually relive the 1950s, for
yeah.
example.
Yeah. I think I can do that. So, and I'm the kind of guy I want to start working on that right away. So I'm going to have to discipline myself because I've got a list of things that we've already discussed that I'm going to have to work on this weekend. But the second I can, uh, you know, and I think about this stuff while I'm jogging too, in the evenings. So I'll be thinking about the design in my head so that next weekend, I think I can start designing something for the season stuff.
Okay.
Isn't this? I like watching a game sometimes.
I forgot. How do I call up the menu if I want to get out of this?
Click on the question mark again when it comes up,
Okay. Okay.
and finish the game. Stop watching.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, we did go over the player sizes, right? I can't even remember. Everything's
Yeah.
a blur to me now. Okay. I just want to be sure we touched up on that. Um, yeah, I think this game has so much potential, and the fact that you're making it customizable and you have a community that likes this game and can make their own leagues, teams, uniforms, all of that. Share it, not share it, keep it to yourself, doesn't matter. Um, the fact you're making this so customizable uh, is breathing so much life into it and is building a fan base. I think this is your niche. This is, if I said the word right. If you keep doing that, if you build it, they will come. And I think forget the baseball reference.
Right.
If you build it, they will come. And I think that could happen with this
Yeah.
game, and you could keep getting more and more people. So,
Well, thank
uh,
you.
yeah. So, hey, Kerry, let's maybe in the future we'll iron this out and we'll do a stream that's a little more professional and versus us fiddling all over the place. But maybe we could do it again in the future when you have more updates
Okay,
and
I gotta run. Let my dog out. I'll be right back. All right.
okay. He's gone, folks. What do you want to talk about now? Oh wow. Oh wow, look at all these posts. When Kerry comes back, I'm going to try to answer your questions. Jay Cruz, can you download an actual roster? Um, there are community made rosters. If you go to Steam, um, Steam community, you will see homemade fictional leagues. You'll see actual historic leagues. It's all there for you to download for free. Um, let's see. Any chance of any fatigue factor for more subbing? Well, let's talk to Kerry about that when he comes in. And let me see if you guys are still on board. Hey, Kerry,
Huh?
uh, you've gotten you can
Oh,
see, yeah, look at this. So um, I told everybody when you stepped out. I jokingly said he's gone. What are we talking about now? But um, we'll get the streaming right, guys. So please
yeah.
bear with us. But I told them that we could go through what they've asked here. But They
Yeah.
asked, can you download an actual roster? And I told them about Steam Community. Al Red Sox fan asked, any chance of adding a fatigue factor for some more subbing?
So that's actually so there's two kinds of fatigue. Um, right now, there's running backs. So if you run a back too much, his little health bar will turn from green to yellow to orange to red. Um, and then the defense as a whole gets tired based on the number of plays. They recover. Everybody recovers at halftime. But late in the game, if there's too much of a discrepancy, you can really wear a defense down. Now, that's a great question. And one of the things I've hoped to do, and I've really looked into it, I just don't know with all the other stuff I'm having to get in, but I would love to get it in to where I could actually have different lineups. So I might have a lineup for when I'm definitely calling a pass or when I'm definitely calling a run. Same thing on defense. I might have a pass lineup and so forth. Well, and as part of that, I'd love to have more fatigue, not just running backs. I mean, a receiver should get fatigue too. If he runs a long route, he ought to have to rest before another play. I just don't know if I'll get all of that in this year. It's much harder than I thought it was going to be because of the original architecture of the game. Remember the original game? I did it for a master's project, and then it became the Tom Landry game. But great question, Red Sox. So
he's probably not happy wearing a Yankees hat, but
yeah.
Well, my wife has always been a Yankees fan, so I don't have a favorite baseball team. So we became a Yankees family, which is fine with me. I don't care. But Al's probably sitting there going, "Argh." Okay. But anyway, see, any chance of adding figure? We asked it. Let's see. You can play.
By the way, my wife is mean. I went to Georgia Tech. She went to TCU, and our teams met in the NIT a few years ago. Oh my gosh, her team whipped the Yellow Jackets, and I had to say, look, I need to go smoke
Hey now.
No. I have a smoker out back. It's for smoking meat, and so I said, I really need to go smoke a pork shoulder or something. I had to get out of the house because she was ragging on me, man. So anyway, go ahead. What else is there?
Let's see. Love that you can play any team against one another without making a league. Well, that's something that we pitched.
I think I can do that.
Yeah. Do you have a link for the game? Well, it's a Steam game. Well, actually, I'll answer that.
Yeah.
It looks like Jake is new to all this and is learning the game.
It's 2020, Jake. The 2021 won't be out until September.
September is the target month for the game.
I mean, I hope I can get it out at the end of August, right? Before the beginning. So really, I'm aiming for mid to late August, but realistically, we'll see.
Okay. Let's see. I don't know. Would you answer that? Love the names. That is awesome. Great to add the game. Which version of the pitching? 21. Let's see. Yeah, but I said they're not looking at chat. Sorry, Al. We are now. I'll get this organized so that we can do it properly next time. We were doing this on the fly. We don't know what we're doing. How are we going to see the gameplay now? There it is. Oh, we got to see gameplay.
I wonder what Jake means by a simulator I can manipulate, because you can edit the players, you can edit pretty much everything. So it may be what he's asking for, but I don't know without more information.
Yeah. Let's see. Al Red Sox fan. He's a Patriots fan. The only loss for because we did the Raiders Patriots. The only loss for the 76 Raiders came at the hand of the Patriots, and the Pats got hosed in the playoff game. Yes, I am still bitter. Yeah, you know what? They did get hosed. That was not roughing Stabler. It wasn't. I mean, yeah, that was a bad call.
Well, I'm one of at work, I kind of get shunned whenever this topic comes up. I actually admire and respect Brady, because I don't care what else you say, and I know there's some questions about some things in New England, but you got to admire anyone who's at that age and has that work ethic and gets out there and doesn't quit when he's in the Super Bowl down by, what were they down by?
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
it was like the Redskins Raiders Super Bowl, and the
Yeah,
Redskins would come back and win the game. That's
yeah.
basically what we saw.
I admire
Um,
anybody who can do that.
uh, that you know what, and that game, um, it was halftime. My wife wanted to turn off the TV, and I was like watching Facebook, and I know Patriots fans, and they were like, "Oh my God!" And I'm like, "This ain't over yet.
That's right.
Tom Brady's still in here.
And
Let's
in
see
my
what
game,
happens." And then it was the very end of the third quarter. They finally scored. Then they missed the extra point. I'm like, just like the Redskins did when they finally got on the board in that Super Bowl against the Raiders. And then after that, I'm like, when I saw the catch where the guy was, I forget who it was, the receiver's on the ground, and
oh
he had
yeah,
and I'm like, this is destiny. They're
yeah,
going to win this game.
yeah,
And it reminded me, ironically, to Patriots fans, it reminded me of the helmet catch by Tyree.
yeah.
That shouldn't have happened. And that was an insane play. But when I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is just like that when the Patriots lost to the Giants. When you saw that play with the Giants, it's like, they're going to win this game. I mean, that's what I was thinking when they're actually going to pull this off. And once I saw that happen with the Patriots, I'm like, they're going to win this game. Ain't no question in my mind now.
But I know what he means. I mean, I think of you've got it back there. I think of Super Bowl 13, and man, Staubach barely let off that pass just a little bit in the end zone to the tight end, and
You mean Jackie? Yeah,
yeah,
he was right in his chest.
he should have caught it.
Yeah.
He did slide, but my gosh, that's what you're supposed to catch. And
Wasn't he
that
a Cardinal before that? Didn't he play
well,
with the
yeah,
Cardinals?
yeah, and he had retired, and they brought him in just for this, and they had that play just for him. And of course, I loved Coach Landry, and getting to meet him was the highlight of my life.
Yeah.
Except for meeting my wife, of course. Uh,
Cover yourself.
that's right.
Well, the funny thing is, next door this way is my son's bedroom, so I hope he's still asleep. And across that way is my daughter. My wife is over there. So once this is over, she's probably going to be going, mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
How were you?
That's right. Yeah.
Let's see. I
Okay.
would like to
See
take
what
more.
else.
This is talking football. Place about how the heck did he escape that sack? This is what we were just talking about. I won $1,000 in that Super Bowl. Okay, let's see. Take care, everyone. Look forward to 2021. So I guess that's it. Oh, here's Jay Cruz. He might still be with us. He's talking about the Raiders, and that's the change you're going to make. You're going to have the Las Vegas Raiders
That's
next
right.
year. Yeah. Okay. Well,
He asked an interesting question. I have never, and I've heard pros and cons on it. I've never offered. I forget what you call it, but it's where you sell the game before its actual release. Steam lets you do that, and Steam even says there's pros and cons because the good thing is people get it out there and they get it in their hands sooner. You've got revenue sooner. They let you know if there's problems. The downside is, well, they've paid money now, and if they might be less forgiving of bugs than you like you are right now because you know it's a beta. So he was asking anyway to get it early. Certainly not anytime soon, and I'll have to think about that. But as it is, I'm really trying to aim for. It depends on what features. We may reach a point where uh, it's early August, and maybe you and I and the other guys are looking at it, and maybe you say, Kerry, it's enough. Release it in August.
yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, when you talk about that, I do have experience. There's a game on Steam called Axis and Allies
Oh,
1942, which
oh,
is
I love
based
that.
on the board game.
I played the board game a lot. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Love
Uh,
Axis and Allies.
I have it in the closet over there.
It's awesome.
Yeah, there's a Steam implementation of that game, and
Cool.
they actually released it in the context you're talking about. And I'm assuming it's a full release now. I don't know, but there were some bugs, and it was playable, but there were some bugs and some quirks, and it was like hard moving transports around and some other stuff. But they did what you're talking about. I mean, maybe you could contact those guys and say, "Hey, how did this work out for you? Was this
Yeah.
too much of a pain in the blankety blank? I mean, can you
Yeah.
guys? Was it worth your while? I mean, did you have a good? You might want to contact those guys because I know they did, I don't know if technically the game is still that way, but yeah, it's easy to remember Axis and Allies 1942 online. And I will tell you what, if you think you're good at that game, I'm not criticizing you, don't misunderstand, but if you think you're good at that game, you play people online. And
Oh, I bet.
the great thing about it is when you do they have actually a ladder, they have ranked matches,
Man,
and you say if you want to play as the Axis or the Allies, and then it teams you up with somebody, you have 24 hours to make your move, so you're not constantly there all day.
yeah, yeah,
So after you make a move, you got 24 hours. Your opponent has 24 hours to make his or her move, and so on and so on and so on. Which I thought was great because you can still play this game. You don't have to sit down all for hours
right.
because that's an awful long time. Like we've been online just now, but that's an awful long time to be playing a game. But take days or a week or so, and then you finish the game. But if you think you're good at Axis and Allies, get ready to get schooled.
Oh,
I got schooled big time. But I've picked up some good tactics
good.
by being schooled. And
Yeah,
it's like a quote from, if you ever saw the movie Revolver. Rule number one of any game or con: you only get smarter by playing a smarter opponent.
that's right.
And I got thrashed, but
Yeah.
I have learned a lot, and I still do get thrashed, but I've gotten a lot better. I mean, I've learned some really incredible techniques and strategies, and sometimes even when I know the strategy they're using, I mean, I know it's coming, I can't stop them because they're so good.
Yeah.
So you will get schooled big time in that game. Um, any of us will.
You ever heard of a board game called Third Reich?
I have. I haven't played it.
Um, it's kind of like Axis and Allies on steroids in that it's a much um, it's the whole world, but the map is very small scaled. So now you have I don't know if it'd be divisions or battalions. I'm not sure what it would be, but I mean, it's good. And my brother and I would play that when we were younger, and it would take us a week or two. Board games, so we'd have to leave it set up someplace. And
Hope the
uh,
cat or dog doesn't knock it over. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Well, this online thing is great. There are two rule sets. It's not the original 1942. It's like the edition after that. I have the original game,
hmm,
but it's that, and there's somebody came up with different rules where there are added stuff and there are added units, and units are different places. And like in the original game, as an example, India is controlled by Great Britain, but there is no industry there, and it's not a capture point. With these games, it actually is
hmm,
industry. You have to play with the modified rules if you're playing online. That is a capture point, and one of the places you need to take over or maintain, whether you're the Axis or Allies. Before it wasn't like that, and this it is. So that's like one of the biggest changes. So if you're Great Britain, now you not only have to concentrate on getting into Europe again, but you've got to at least defend India. Plus, you've got to
yep,
take on the Japanese
yeah,
coming up the coast of Asia. So, and a lot of strong players will, if they're the Axis, they will hit you hard and try to take that area almost immediately. Now, on the other end of the table, the Philippines is also. It doesn't have an industry. Doesn't come with an industry manufacturing already set up, but that's a capture point.
hmm,
And if I'm the Allies, you don't have to necessarily go charging right into to try to take Japan. You could take the Philippines, and you're giving Japan a hit. So the British and or the United States can try to go into the Philippines. But we've gone from pro strategy football to Axis and
we'll have
Allies.
to talk about that sometime.
Yeah,
Uh,
but it's a great game. I highly recommend. I think it's 1999. It's a great game, and it ends up being addicting. And I probably have a couple turns that I need to do before I go to bed tonight. So
sometime that Jake fella was asking, so maybe some maybe sometime we can go through some gameplay. Prob- Maybe when it gets closer, like to summer or early summer or something, because I feel pressure to get a lot done in the weekends between now and then. But it would be good at some point because like he hadn't heard of the game, so it'd be good for maybe. Of course, he can go out there and do some searching. But
Hmm.
a lot of folks, you know, one of the things I really struggle with is and I don't. This isn't bragging. In fact, it's a challenge. There's so much in my game. Making it findable and letting people know it's in the game is one of the big challenges. A while ago in career play, I was having you bounce around all these different screens and stuff.
Right.
I don't know how to. That's where it'd be nice if I had someone who is an expert in that to help me. But because most of the games you look at, you play, they're one or the other. Maybe they're a career management game, and that's what they do. I mean, Front Page Sports is supposed to be. I don't play that kind of game, so but I've heard it is
Yeah.
the game for that.
Well, it has both season and a career like you do, but most people do. But it's big draw was career. They're the
Yeah.
ones that actually created career play.
Yeah.
And here's some trivia for you. Um, to show you how long I've been making homemade teams. I started making them for an old game for the Commodore 64. It was also on the PC. It was called Super Bowl Sunday. It was
Oh,
made by Avalon Hill.
oh man.
And they actually released, I called the company, they actually released a team editor disc. And they didn't sell it in stores. You had to call, and it was $20, and you could make your own homemade team. So
Wow.
I did that, but I also made them for Front Page Sports
Yeah.
Football. I worked with, and this is a great guy, and he made a number cruncher game. His name's Dave Holt, and he made NFL Pro League football and eventually micro league football, micro sports, or micro league didn't have a game, and he didn't have a distributor for his NFL Pro League football. So they joined forces and they used his game and they renamed it. So I made teams for micro league football. Was it 96 and 4.0 was the last version?
Well,
But I made mods for that, and I made stuff for Front Page Sports. Front Page Sierra Dynamics actually contacted me. I think it was the 98 version of the game. I had made like a 32 team and it's a bunch of teams like I did for your game. Your game is the one I've made the most for.
mm,
I think I've made close to 200 teams at this point in
wow.
time. It's 100 and no, it's 120, 130. So I'd have to look it up, but we have two great graphic artists that have volunteered, and they're also beta testing for you. And those guys have made some fantastic. I mean, the artworks. I'm floored. I mean, I'm floored. They even take the time to get the accuracy of the stadiums and the kind of helmets that they had back then and the uniform. I mean, I'm right down to the littlest detail. It blows my mind. I would communicate with these guys and I say, okay,
Yeah.
here are the teams they're going to make, and here are the years. And they would be like, okay, well, when it comes to the year, okay, this year they didn't have the logo in the middle of the field, so I can't have the logo for that. And this year they had it was the only year they had the 82 Redskins, they had the helmet facing this way instead of this way. So he actually made it that way. And I'm like, is this right? He's like, I looked it up. It's actually right. My goodness. But I made those rosters and all that. But in '98, Sierra Dynamics, they sent me an email and said, "We understand you make teams. We wanted to know if you'd be interested in making uh, the 1998 season, building the actual teams."
Wow.
And I still have the email. I printed it up, and I
That's
told them
cool.
no. I told them I don't have the time, and I didn't. They gave it to E.A. Galat, who I hope I pronounced his name right. If he ever sees this, he had a web page where he had utilities, and he made some teams too, and he did it. But I don't know if they approached at the same time. I can't answer that, but I was approached, and I still have a printout of that because I was like, oh my god, they actually asked me to do a gig for them. But
That's cool.
I'm just doing this. This is all for fun, and I've got so much data on teams. And here's something, since we were talking the 82 Redskins, here's something that's interesting. And you can look it up on Pro Football Reference, and they don't have it.
Hmm.
82 was a strike season. And if you look at the Redskins roster, if you go to look it up online, and there's another football place called Football Database. Football Database has the long kick longs of all the field goal kickers where Football Reference says it. And I have a bunch of stuff from back in the day, like old XOR NFL Challenge. I printouts of all the teams that I had for them that I purchased from them. And I've got like ratings or rosters from all these different games that I'm like collaborating to try to make something with all these teams. But 82 Redskins is an example. If you look up on Pro Football Reference, there's only one quarterback listed, and it's Joe Theismann. No backup. Nobody on the roster. You go to Football Database, it has Tom Holly as Theismann's backup. Well, he wasn't on the team until 83. He got drafted, but for whatever reason, but if you look at their statistics, Theismann was the only one who threw the ball, except for Joe Washington, their halfback. He had one throw. Well, I didn't want to put Joe Washington. Well, I have the data of actually who was his backup, and it was a former 49er and Patriot quarterback Tom Owen. So that's who's in your game. It's not listed. It's not listed there. It's weird. And Dave Holt's game of NFL Pro League football has Owen. He got the information from the NFL. Has Owen as Theismann's backup that year. And he has statistics. Well, I can't find the statistics anywhere. And I asked him, okay, I see Owen's the backup. And actually, XOR NFL Challenge does have Owen listed. They got it. And I asked Dave, he said, well, when I had the NFL license, they gave me anything I wanted. They literally, what do you need? You want this? Okay. And they gave me anything I wanted. He said, so yeah, Tom Owen and the NFL Challenge by XOR, same thing. I didn't talk to them about it, but they have Tom Owen, his jersey number 17, which is ironically Doug Williams' jersey number from several years in the future. But there were statistics for Tom Owen. I said, well, Dave, where'd you get these numbers from if he didn't throw anything? He said, oh, those are his preseason numbers. So he actually had from the NFL his preseason numbers. So I actually have from that game all that information. And that's another bit of proof, and this is funny. If you go back and you look at the Super Bowl, the year the Redskins beat the Dolphins, and that famous John Rickens run where the 4th and 1 and he breaks through and he scores a touchdown.
I remember, yep.
Watch it the whole way. He scores. He comes out of the end zone. He's walking towards the screen, and you've got towards the middle of the field, well, towards the center of the end zone. He's coming by, like he's going towards the sideline. Right after he scores, you can see some players come up to him, pat him on the back, blah, blah, blah. One of them is number 17, Tom Owen. Comes up to him, pats him, blah, 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 blah. It says his name and his jersey number, and he's not on the roster. He's not listed on the roster in Pro Football Reference. He's not on Football Database. They've got Bob Holly, who was the next year. That's actually not even wrong. I actually got that correct information from NFL Challenge and NFL Pro League football.
That is wild.
Yeah, I mean, you can't find it online. It will not list it. So I did a search online, and I typed in Tom Owen Redskins, and I found an old article that's posted online. The old newspaper articles, they post some of them online, that actually said Tom Owen was cut, and in '83, Tom Owen, his name was listed. Tom Owen was cut, and they're going to go with Bob Holly, the guy that they drafted as Theismann's backup, and Tom and Owen is gone. So there was more proof to it, but I was like, because when I first started making these teams, I'm looking at this old, well, there's no data on it at all. And I actually got it from 2 old games that actually had NFL licensing, and both of them listed Owen. And Dave even told me, oh, those were his preseason numbers. So you actually have real numbers in my number crunching game. But those are his preseason because that's all that existed. So to his credit, he was trying to keep it, accurate. But yeah, I had a lot of fun making them, and I had been done. I looked into making stuff for Madden, but the Madden community, and I don't some people are nice, but some people out of the gate were like, this better not be one of these blah, 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 yeah, you're just going to change names. And I'm like, no, I'd like to try to make it. I wish there was an, and I was getting all kinds of, I was just like, I'm not going to bother. And I just figured, I figured I was done. And then I stumbled across your game and I was like, well, this actually has potential.
Well, I'm glad, and I'm glad you're on it, you and those other guys. And yeah, I mean, we swap emails pretty often, and I am going to look over these things. I like the idea of the player card too, but my gosh, there's so much to try to do before, especially with some of the stuff we discussed tonight. I've written down notes, so hey man, thank you very, very much.
Sure.
We'll do this again, and maybe we'll see where we stand in a couple of weeks, okay?
Yeah, well, what maybe we can do is once you get to a certain stage, and we'll talk about it. I've added this feature, or I've modified this, so let's show people. We can keep this a little more abbreviated, showing what you've done, and then we can do maybe Q&A like these poor souls were trying to do, and I didn't have the screen up. That's not their fault.
I love this idea. I've never done this before.
Neither have I.
Be good. I will email you probably. So I'm actually off work tomorrow. We work. I make up a little bit of time, but the way we work at my real job is most of my work is done by Thursday evening. So I get Fridays off. We work 40 hours on four 10-hour days. So I will work on the game tomorrow some, and I will be emailing you on some of these things. I like the idea of the quick play with 2 leagues, and I like a lot of these things. I'll just have to add them to my list and figure out how to prioritize what. So
that way, anybody can play anybody. It's because you don't have to have it just a one-time thing. Oh, here's something I wanted to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Steam implementation allows you to play these games remotely, like we did with the Cowboys and the Bills. Right. If there's no way to implement the screen flipping through the Steam implementation or do a direct IP address connection like some games do have, I mean, we could still do, and we could figure out like here we are doing a screen share with Skype. If we could do it with Skype where we're 2 people and we could try to organize this. Do Skype so that way we can see that the person's not looking at you calling your offensive play.
Yeah.
And Skype is free.
Yeah.
And I mean, if there's a fear of cheating, look at it. We could do Skype, and then we could play similar game like we did. But here's my idea, and this is something that Front Page Sports Football did. You have to name somebody as the commissioner. They have the league. And what they do is they email everybody the league. And they drop the league into the respective folder. And again, you made it easier because now everything's under documents versus local app data.
Right.
Okay, for this new incarnation of the game, which I don't know if we discussed this time. We did last time, but I don't know if we did. So you've made it easier for customization. So everybody plays their game independently on their computer's matchup. My suggestion, this is what Front Page Sports Football did. When you're done with your game, you click on a button. I'm just where I watch replay. I'm just making stuff up. You click on a button at the end of the game, or like here, let's say right here on the bottom right, and it's export game. And what it does is it exports to a CSV file this game, the statistics, the result, everything. Whatever data you use to write to your league, it exports it to a file. So all of the people who play in an online league, they send that to the commissioner. The commissioner then takes those CSVs with the existing master file and ingests them. He imports them in. Boom, there's everybody's games that they've played on different computers all over the country. Once the week is done, the commissioner re-emails everybody the updated league, and then you've got to go from there. Lather, rinse, repeat. This way, if you did that, you could have online leagues playing this game. And even if it's abbreviated, you make a 4-team or an 8-team league. It doesn't have to be a full-blown 32. You could have people playing this game left and right with their own homemade leagues. So I don't know if that's feasible. And I know another concern you had was, well, what if somebody manipulated ratings on players or their statistics or whatever to try to cheat? My idea would be when you export, you're not only exporting the results, you're exporting everything. You're exporting all the ratings that all the players have, all the statistics that have already been put in. Give that to the commissioner. When it goes to be imported by the commissioner, it's checking through CSV, does it match the master league? If it doesn't, it goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Somebody changed the quarterback rating for passing. His strength is 9 when it was a 4. Doesn't count. That way you could prevent people from cheating.
Yeah, so I can't imagine with everything else I've got to do this summer. I can't imagine that for this version.
Yeah.
But it certainly, it sounds very doable. One thing that I could do with it, and I think this would probably be the biggest item next year, would be also to make it so that I could designate more than one team as a human managed team in career play. Now, for what you're talking about, for single season play, I think is what it would be. It wouldn't be career, because career, you add the complexity that now what do you do about the draft and all this other stuff. But for single season, is that something that could be done? I don't even know if it could be done in an update. I'd have to see. But I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's just a thought. I mean,
it's a great idea.
Right now, even if we just did play like this with Skype so we can see that no one's cheating, and we just write down the results. I mean, it'd be primitive, but hey, at least we could play and keep track of stuff. So, but anyway, let's see. Let's leave with the highlight. Let's see your team. You're a Cowboy fan. Let's see something big. Here you go. Bryant catching from Prescott. Oh, here comes a rush from the Saints.
All right.
And we'll leave it at that. Okay, Kerry. Hey, thanks for your time, and maybe we can do this again sometime soon when you've got some additions and some things to show people.
Okay, and we'll touch base again this weekend. Okay, you know.
Okay.
So thank you, man.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too. I'm in the stream now. Have a good night.
Oh, hold on. What's he saying here? Oh.
What's?
Oh, okay.
Not
yeah.
Yet.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, have a good one, bud.
All right. Take care. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.